And a good morning. It is the Positively Petland show right here on 800 KXIC. And we have a very, very special show for you this week. I'm so excited about it. Of course, joined in studio, owner of Petland in Iowa City, Ron Solsrud. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning.
And you have a very special guest. So we're going to change things up for this week. And I'll let you introduce your special guest to all of us.
Sounds good. Petland of Iowa City has, for the life of the store, helped out the local canine unit, and it has grown over these, 15 years. And today we have Officer Brandon Faulkcon in the studio today to tell us what do the canine units do for us as a community. And the more I learn, the more I hear stories, the more they tell me how they train and how accurate these canines are, the more I'm just amazed on not only the ability of the officers and all the training that they go through, but of the canine unit itself, or in this case, Rakker, what they do and how well they do things. It's an incredible unit, and we should and are very proud of having such a capable unit here in Iowa City and our surrounding community. And I'm really excited about having Officer Faulkcon on the air today.
And so, without further ado, good morning, Brandon.
Good morning.
Or do you,
after all of that intro, good morning.
or do you
got to have your radio personality voice on. Good morning.
Oh no, that was my radio.
that was it. That's the. I had a guest in studio last week, and I said, "Anything to wrap up with?" And he goes, "Nope." And I was like, "All right, so we're out of it." But we are going to be talking about some great stories. And how long have you been with the force, Brandon?
I've been a police officer for going on 10 years.
Here, specifically in Iowa City?
All in Iowa City.
All in Iowa City. And did you start out as a canine unit?
I did not. I've been a canine handler for going on 5 years.
I thought you were going to say something.
No, you actually asked the question.
I pointed at you.
I wanted to know whether you started off that way because in the store we get people that are interested in being in the canine unit, and they always ask questions, and I go, I have no idea how to do that. And it's so you started off not being in it, you got onto the police force. I think that's the tough part of getting onto. I think that's one of the tough things is to getting onto the force here in Iowa City because it is a selective process. And then was it something that just kind of fell in your lap, or you were gearing for it, or
Well, I've been a canine trainer for 15 years. So I've kind of always had that in my back pocket. When I first started, they were looking for a canine handler. However, you don't get the dog when you're new. So
you got a lot of things that you got to figure out before that happens.
So I had to wait until another position became available. And once that became available, I put it forward. And it's the exact same thing as becoming an officer. It's a selection process that you have to go through. Interviews, they look at your background and your qualifications, and then they decide from there.
Okay, so it's something like you make it known that you're interested in it, probably some strong emphasis, and then but the Iowa City department then determines who is that canine unit going forward.
Yes.
Are the other officers jealous of you?
Sometimes I mean it's a really, really cool position. I mean it's the longest position in the police department. Right now I've been a canine handler for 5 years, and Rakker probably has another 5 to 6 years left in him. So I'll be a canine handler, for a very big portion of my police career. And some people think that's amazing. And then they hear all the stories of Rakker, peeing and pooping in the back of the car, and they're not so jealous anymore.
Well, it's just like, pet ownership in general. I want the cute little fluffy thing. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. Well, and then when you get them home, if you didn't know what was going on, I have to take it out.
You directly and accurately described what it's like when Ron brings some of his pets in studio. And I look over going,
on the carpet.
Why are you grabbing the piece of paper? And he's like, nothing's going on. Everything's perfectly fine. So you're saying that once you've made the commitment that once you become a handler, that's the longest position, is that you can't just step away from it because of the unity between you and Rakker, correct?
You wouldn't want to. Once I became a canine handler, I figured I was going to be in it for, probably about 5 to 6 years, depending on the life of the dog. Rakker was not my first dog. I had a dog before him, and during when we went to training, she actually died in training.
Oh,
so once I got Rakker, I got him at the exact same training, and now I'm at the point where I'd rather him go for another 10 years. If I can have him for the rest of my career, I'll have him for the rest of my career. But it is definitely a huge commitment to take in the police department.
Mm-hmm. When you say that, just for us that don't know, you said that's the longest span. What would a normal officer be doing, or an average officer be doing in that period of time? Are you talking about different promotions and things like that, or different duties, or?
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I think it's funny because we're talking about dogs and you said duty. I'm sorry.
That sounds like something Jerry would say.
I'm sorry.
You said duty. We always do have a little competition. How long does it take in the show before we start talking about poop?
Well, there you go.
And there it goes. And it doesn't take long.
It's the juvenile hour on Kicks. I see. That is awesome, because behind the scenes, I looked over and he gave this weird smile, kind of awkwardly. But and so anyway, to continue on Ron's question of different positions, obviously this is one that's protected, and you got to commit to it.
Yes. So there's investigations positions where they're normally about a 5-year span. You can get, and you have to come out for a year. You can go back up, but there's they do rotate those positions out. This is the only position that's not rotated out.
Okay.
So.
All right, I got
specialty positions.
All right, and then so you started getting into how you met Rakker, and the unfortunate. I mean, it was unfortunate at the beginning, but you were telling us off the air that it continued in a little bit of a rocky start. Tell us what happened with you and Rakker there? Rakker. Rakker.
So after our last canine, her name is Becky. She served our police department for, I think, 5 years. With Officer Matt Hansen, and Matt Hansen moved away, so I took over Becky. And she was an older dog, and when she passed away, the only thing they were like, okay, well, Brandon, can you get another dog, and can you continue your training? I said, yes. So the only thing in my mind is like, you know what? I want the biggest, meanest looking German Shepherd. I want my car to shake when he gets in and out of the car. I wanted the biggest dog they had, And my trainer says, Brandon, you need to try this new dog, or this dog we have. We had him for a little bit. His name's Rakker. And I was like, I want to go look at these dogs though. And then he goes, no, you really should look at this dog. I was like, fine. So when I get there, there's this little bitty window that I'm looking through this, and all I see is Rakker's face. And I'm like, that's the ugliest dog I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't want that dog. And my trainer goes, Brandon, just trust me. You need to try this dog. I'm like, I don't want it. And they pull it out, and Rakker, normally at these facilities, the dogs are about 10 pounds under where they need to be for food. Or not food, for weight, because they're just so hyper and they're stressed out. So Rakker's like maybe 50 pounds soaking wet. So I'm like, I really don't want this dog. Like, not this is not that dog that's going to rock my car and anything like that. So he said, Brandon, just try the dog, please. Fine, I'll try the dog, and then I'll let you know I don't want it afterwards. So because of my previous training, and that I had already been there for 2 weeks with Becky, I knew some of the things to do, and I worked Rakker, and it was just instant. It was just like, boom. I'm like, okay, well, the dog is kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And then I took the dog home, and my wife, April, she goes, he is cute. And I'm like,
what are you seeing?
Well, he's not bad looking. And then that weekend he spent time with me and my family, and he was, I was hooked after that. We came back, and the trainer goes, I've never seen a dog take a bond to human that quickly. I don't know what you guys did at home, but it's amazing. You two are just rocking this. And I'm like, I guess I'll keep him. You know?
All right.
Yeah, he was a good dog.
A little bit back on where do the canine units, the canines, the dogs that we have here come from? And you were just describing a little bit the facility. Those are pretty incredible facilities of what they're doing. They're taking puppies, and in your case, it's a German Shepherd. What are some of the other breeds? The Malinois. Is there anything else?
I have a Dutch Shepherd.
Okay, so you
And,
have a Dutch.
Travis Neal is another canine unit with Iowa City. He has a German Shepherd. What we see circulating around is mainly the Malinois, the Dutch Shepherds, and the German Shepherds. Those are your three main common police canines that you're seeing around. And the majority of them are coming from overseas. And then they get to, once they come over here, they're starting to go to different facilities where, you know, depends on who buys the dog. I went to Von Lick Kennels in Indiana, and Travis went to Northern Iowa. So there's different, like, I train dogs. I could buy one overseas, train the dog up, sell it to a police department, train the handler, and so that's basically what you got going on.
But these are really expensive dogs because of the training they went through. This isn't just, oh yeah, and the dog's trained. This is way beyond. They're trained in very specific ways. Your dog is a narcotics?
Yes, dual purpose narcotics dog.
And then we have the bomb dogs. Is there a better way of saying that?
No, they're the bomb dogs.
The bomb dogs. So
you said Rakker's double purpose or dual purpose. What's the other purpose?
Apprehension.
Oh, that's right.
And then, so what are the other ones? Cadaver. I just learned that there was such a thing, a cadaver dog.
We don't have any of those.
Is that something in our future? Do you know, or
no?
Okay, I forget if we needed a specialty dog and we didn't have it in our community. You reach out to other communities that do have those and bring them in. Like the bomb dogs for the university are used throughout the county if an incident occurs where they need to detect something like that.
Yes, we in the law enforcement family, we kind of ask around a lot. You know, there's been times where I've went over to different counties to assist in searching for somebody or searching for drugs or something. And we've reached out to, university. We've reached out to different other agencies too to help utilize, because like you said, the dogs are expensive. So for us to have a bomb dog and university to have a bomb dog and Corville to have a bomb dog, you know, in our area is kind of like, okay, maybe we can get these dogs and help each other out.
Yeah. What is a typical investment that occurs just on the front end of getting a dog? What is that? 10,000, 20,000?
Just the dog along is pretty much going average, probably about between the $12,000 to $14,000. And
then there's additional investments that are made.
Yes. My salary.
All right. So when we hear the 80,000s and all that, there's more things into that number than just the dog itself. There's other things that are going on, and it's to support that whole unit.
Yes, that's the car, that's the training.
Oh yeah, especially car.
Yes.
Okay.
So that it is for a whole workup. That's what they normally call it. It's a whole canine workup. This will start your entire program, the equipment that you would need for the dogs, all the specialty equipment for the car, you know. So
and then after that investment, you then take control, and aren't you now responsible for the life of that dog as far as food? I don't know about veterinarian care, all that kind of stuff. Who's responsible for that?
I can only speak for the city on this one. I'm responsible to make sure everything gets taken care of. Petland is very, very gracious, and they help us out with feeding our dogs. And veterinarian care is wherever the handler wants to take the dog. Our city picks up the bill because the dog belongs to the city. He just lives with me, and I take care of the dog at home.
But you're responsible for those day-to-day kind of items for Rakker.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Let's take a quick break. We're going to continue the conversation with Officer Brandon from the Iowa City Police Department. It is the Positively Petland Show on 800 KXIC. It is the Positively Petland show on 800 KXIC. Why are you looking at me like that?
Did you just snort on the...
I did not. My allergies, like yours, are flaring up. And so it's just a habit. Before I turn on the microphone, I usually...
Oh, you weren't on. Okay, nobody heard that. Okay.
No, it's this throat clearing kind of, type thing. And you look at me like, what are you doing? So anyway... It is the Positively Petland show with Ron Solzrud from Petland of Iowa City, east side of Iowa City, and special guest officer Brandon from the Iowa City Police Department. Good morning.
Good morning.
I would love to go into stories at this time because not only are they fascinating and we're unaware of what Officer Faulkcon has to go through, but it also gives you a huge flavor of, that's why we need canine units and need to be fully supportive of them and all that. Do you have what are your favorite stories to tell when you're around a campfire or whatever? You'd never believe, or you got to hear this one.
No duty stories, please.
Get back into the duty.
My favorite all-time Rakker story is his first track, because I had no clue what I was doing, and luckily he did. So we had a robbery at a local pizza shop, and the suspects fled the scene. I'm 2 weeks out of training with Rakker, and someone says, "Hey, we have the dog. Let's bring the dog." So I'm looking around like, well, I can't wait for the dog to get here. I'm like, oh, that's me. That's me. Great. So I show up, and the officer's telling me, well, this is what we have. We have this, and they went this way. There's light snow on the ground, so I can see where the guy started to run. So I'm like, oh, sure, this should be easy then. So we get to this big parking lot, and all the prints are gone. So now I have to say, trust Rakker to, hey, this is on you now, buddy. You have to find him. So Rakker tracked to this building, and he was trying to find a way to get into the building. There was a set of stairs, but I didn't let him go far enough to the stairs. So he's just at this building. So I'm like, come on, dude, we're not tracking a building. Come on. Yeah. So I'm like, great. They sold me a dog that he doesn't work. I mean, he seriously tracked a building. While we were doing that, I tried to take him other places to see if he can pick up the odor. What I was doing is taking him out of the odor, because while we were out there, there were two guys looking out with big eyes down at us saying, uh-oh. So one of the officers kind of looked up and goes, well, that's not normal. So they go up and talk to him, and lo and behold, it's the guys that robbed the store.
Wow.
So, I mean, he took me right there. I at that point, been so new, I just didn't know how to read that. And then once the officer came back, he go, no, this was perfect. He did exactly what he needed to do and everything. I'm just like, yeah, I knew that.
With confidence.
I would love it if Rakker was here right now to recap that story and go, yeah, I knew exactly what I was doing, Brandon.
You do a good Rakker voice.
Thanks.
Now I'm gonna have that in my head when I'm working.
I'm sorry. Jerry's voice.
So just recapping, sorry, Officer Faulkcon from the Iowa City Canine Unit. And just recap really quick for anybody that's joining the PAWSitively Petland show. How long have you been with the Iowa City Police Department?
For 10 years. I've been a canine handler for 5.
And so what's a daily, what does your daily routine look like? Rakker lives with you at home. And so is he excited to go to work? How many days a week does he work?
So I tell this story every time someone asks me my daily routine for him. It's annoying. It's annoying. I have
be honest. Don't hold back like you're
right?
doing here. Just let it out.
Of all answers, I don't expect.
Man.
That's the one.
Well,
annoying.
This is why. Have you ever had a person so excited to work and then you show up and they're like, we're going to have a great day. And you're just like, really? We're going to work. So this is Rakker.
Yeah, it's every single time Ron comes into the studio.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm over here drinking my coffee after being on the air for 5 hours, and I'm like, all right, let's do the show. Hey, it's the PAWSitively Petland show. Hey.
So, but I have to sneak around my garage to get my uniform stuff ready. And he's just in this kennel going crazy, jumping off the kennels, whining. Please let me out. Hurry up. Let's do it. Do it. Come on. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so annoying. So I let him out and he takes off out of the garage and he runs around my yard, runs to the back, runs back. And this is every single time I get ready for work. So there's been times where I've had to get ready for work 3 times. Every single time is the exact same thing. So he finally gets in the car and I finally get situated and I start to drive and he's in the back of the car, just going around in circles. He's hitting his tail on everything,
yes,
whining, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, would you please just stop? We're not even there yet. Nothing's happening right now. So I get to work, and lo and behold, you have this excited dog ready to just do whatever I asked him, which is that part's amazing. The getting ready part is kind of weird, but we work 4 days on, 2 days off. And it kind of rotates throughout that. We normally work 8 hours a day. And Rakker, if he could, he will work 24 hours a day.
Kind of a silly question. I'm assuming he's allowed in the police station. Or does he stay in the car? Where does he stay during the day if you're on shift?
So that's a little bit of yes. So while I'm not in my car, there's times where I have taken him into the police department and he's allowed there, and he's really good with people. We just had a demo over at Hoover Elementary, and all the kids got to pet him and everything. But normally I leave him in the car because that's the only time I can have a little peace. So
from your partner,
for my partner, yes. He's so excited.
Take me with. Oh, where are you going? Hey, I'll come with.
Yes, that's exactly how it is.
I made Rakker sound tough. You made Rakker sound hey, what's going on?
He's a very high energy dog.
Now, for people going out, oh my gosh, he left him in the car. Not for prolonged periods of time, I'm assuming, because that's one of the things that pet owners kind of get shamed about, is leaving their dogs in the vehicle. So obviously you're taking precautions. We have special equipment in our car that keeps our car at a certain temperature for our dogs. Okay. And it alarms us if it goes below or above that temperature. And if it does hit and I don't get there in time, my car is programmed to drop all the windows down. I have a fan that turns on right away and my lights on top starts to go off.
So we take huge precautions to make sure that we don't have some of the unfortunate incidents that have happened with police dogs and other dogs being in cars too long.
That's I've wondered that. I knew you had some special features, but I didn't know they went that extensive. That's pretty impressive there.
Yeah.
That the life of that dog is taken care of.
Yes.
What are some stories of, okay, we heard of kind of an apprehension story. Is there anyone a little more dramatic or where, yeah, and he tackled him or any, I mean, is there any kind of things, have you gotten engaged on that? Or?
Unfortunately, no tackling. The other great Rakker story I have is, this took place probably 2 years after I've had Rakker, where there was another strong arm robbery where a gun was displayed and the guy took off running. I start the track and we track to a fence, and Rakker's just all about this fence area. And but we know the guy's not there. So I tell 4 officers to check that area really, really well. And we continue our track. We eventually lose the guy and they come back. Brandon, there's nothing over there. Well, we found a bag that had gun shells in it and some drugs, narcotics in it. So I'm like, guys, check that area really, really well. So
wait, where was the bag?
The bag was on right alongside the fence.
They didn't see the bag?
Rakker found the bag at the beginning. I kind of jumped out of there. So
okay.
We tracked to the bag.
All right. Hey, we got something right here.
Yes.
Check this whole area out. Now we're going to keep on trying to find this guy.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
So I get to the point where we're all done. We can't find the guy. I bring back, we're walking back and they said, there's nothing over there. All right. So another officer stayed back with me. I cut Rakker loose and I have him go in that area.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about this area. I'm like, I don't want to get rid of it. Out of nowhere, I lose Rakker, and I'm yelling for him to come back, and I can't find him. So I go crawling through the area, and I see him laying down next to this styrofoam cooler. I'm like, really? We move the cooler, and there's the gun right there.
Wow.
So we were able to link the robbery all together because of Rakker, and him finding that gun. That was amazing.
You're so funny with your reaction to what Rakker does. Really, Rakker?
Yeah.
Because how many now? This is like further into the career for Rakker, and he's like going, "Would you show me a little confidence already?"
Yes. It's funny because
yes, that was another imitation.
It's
in the middle.
You do that, but so do I. It's like I talk to him exactly how I'm telling these stories. I'm like, "Come on, dude, what are you doing?" And I can just imagine him saying, "My job. What are you doing?"
Yeah, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Would you get in line already?
If Rakker was in studio right now, I would give anything to hear the other side of
these stories.
And so you mentioned during the first segment that Petland has supported the Canine unit. So just kind of recap for all of our listeners on the great service that you have in the cooperation between the Canine unit with the Iowa City Police Department and Petland.
Petland donates our dog food for our canines. I know they also donate the food for, I know Corville, I think different counties too. I think Iowa County and Washington County. So that's just one of those things where we show up and they're happy to see us. We get our dog food and they just talk to us, and they're just so happy to help us out and help the canine programs out with food. We never have to worry about that because it's just taken care of every time we go in there.
Who's the other canine handler in Iowa City?
His name is Travis Neild.
Wasn't Smith there for a while?
He was university.
Okay. Yep, you're right. I forgot about that. And so there's a lot of canines in the area, and unfortunately, we just lost Corville's canine just a couple weeks ago. What was that like?
That's always hard.
Yeah,
it's always hard. Ivan was an amazing dog, and I wanted, like, if anyone could say I want the perfect dog, you're going to end up with Ivan. For the most part, he had the right amount of calmness, the right amount of drive, that dog was just a solid dog. And his handler, Chad Bender, was amazing with him. I mean, I learned a lot in the last 5 years just watching them two work. So it's hard not to have that part of our training program anymore, because right after our dogs used to stink stuff up, he would come in and Ivan would just be like, "Oh, that was easy," and we're just like, one day.
Coralville, Coralville Mayor John Lindell was in just about 10 days ago or so before he went on vacation. And he was talking that he gave a proclamation to Ivan, and the mayor of Coralville, John Lindell, admitted on air, I'm not disclosing anything, he got choked up when he was doing this proclamation for Ivan. So it is an integral part of our communities having these dogs be with us.
Go into a little bit on the training side. That's at the beginning of when Wendy and I got into Petland, 11 years ago, I knew a little bit about, the ongoing training. And I think many years ago, the canine units didn't get this. And so you get a trained dog, but then they kind of lose it over time. This is the past. Today, what you guys are doing, you mentioned at the beginning, 2 times a month, getting together, I think 16 hours total of training. And that keeps and probably improves over time even our canine units in the area. And you get together with the Cedar Rapids crew as well?
University Police Department, their dogs go up to Cedar Rapids, and they have a big training group in Cedar Rapids. Our training group is a little bit more local, where we get together with Washington County, Geauga County, Iowa County, Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa City.
So it's a nice sized group. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how accurate things get as a result of that training. How accurate are these dogs as far as their ability to do something?
Within our training group, narcotic wise, our dogs are phenomenal. They're really, really good drug sniffing dogs. What we would do is sometimes we'll go out to Holiday or Big Ten, and we'll plant some training aids, drugs inside the vehicles, and we'll have those dogs run those. And what we're trying to do there is to make sure our dogs are still doing what they're supposed to do. And if there's a problem or issue, we are able to take care of that right then and there and find out why something was done or wasn't done. And then after we do drug work, we do tracking, where a handler lays a track, and then another handler goes and they use their dog for the track. And we do that, and we sit and examine what that dog, we have to make sure that that dog is sniffing what it should be sniffing, or is there a reason why it's not sniffing? Is there a reason why it's going off and chasing that rabbit instead of the guy that just ran this way? So those are things we have to get into and figure out why these dogs are working the way they are, or why they are not working the way they are supposed to work. So, and then we do everyone's favorite, the bite stuff. So you put on the big suit and do a little dog agitation, and that's mainly for obedience. A lot of us don't care that our dogs can bite. We just want to make sure that they know what they're doing, and their obedience under a stressful situation is perfect, because those are situations we get into where we have to have those dogs under control. When there's chaos everywhere, we have to be able to know that that dog is going to stay by us until we give that magic command, and then the game's on then.
Mm-hmm. Don't you even do testing and then have to be at a certain level in your grades and all that kind of stuff?
Certifications, yes. So Iowa actually does not require police dogs to be actually certified dogs. That's going to change, I'm sure of it. But we still go through certification. And so Rakker and I, we go back to Von Lick to recertify every year. And then we also go over to the state of Illinois and we certify through their narcotics program too. So we carry more certifications than we need to make sure our dogs are accurate and they're doing the right thing.
What is, in a numbers way, I'm a numbers guy, what's the accuracy? Are we 99%? Are we 60% accurate?
Rakker is 97%.
97%. That's above an A, isn't it?
Yes.
Rakker is an amazing dog. Do you have a story on drug detection that you can share? I've got one that was done a long time ago in the store, and it was just a demonstration. And the name of the dog has passed away.
Nathan.
Yes. Nathan was brought into our store, and we had a demonstration where everybody was gathered around, and the officer, what's Kevin's last name? Berg. Officer Berg came into the store, and he had the sample, the test and everything, the drugs. And he walked around our entire store, up and down aisles and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, he's getting the scent all over the place. Oh, this is going to be good. Nathan's going to have a hard time and all that. And then he goes, oh, today I'm going to show you what Nathan will do if it's above your head, kind of a thing, and the stance that the dog takes as the result of that. So he goes into the dog food area. Don't go into the dog food area and expect to find anything today. Goes into the dog food area, puts it way up high behind the dog food, the sample. And so Nathan this whole time is sitting back in the car, probably going, okay, when do I go? When do I go? Kind of thing. And so then he comes in, he goes, hold on for a minute. I'm going to let Nathan now come in. Nathan walks directly down an aisle, like from the door, down the aisle, takes a left-hand direct turn, goes right to the rack that the sample is in, and goes right up. I mean, there was not a hesitation or a pause. And I'm like, how does a dog do that? As far as that sample was brought all the way through our store, all over the place, and here went right to it after that. And that's where we often talk on the radio here on the dog's sense of smell is so accurate, it's beyond what we think. And the best way I have to say it is they smell like we see. I can see you guys here. I can see the colors that you're wearing and all that. You're wearing a hat, all that kind of stuff. Well, they smell at those kind of levels. Give us some information on Rakker as far as that goes.
So this is I don't think there's one canine handler that doesn't love this story on the way the dog smells. And tracking is our number one thing that we use this on. When we go into a house and someone's making soup, we smell soup. When the dog goes into that house, the dog smells chicken broth, pepper, whatever is, he smells every ingredient in that soup. So when Nathan went into that store, yeah, he smelled the rabbits, he smelled literally everything, but there was that one smell where you go, I remember this. Every time I find this, Dad's happy, I get to play. Let's go. And that's what these dogs are looking for. They're just looking to work. And that's why Rakker is just so hyper in the back. Every time I walk to the car and I get in the front seat, I just feel him going, come on, take me out.
There's something to do.
Yes. So
that's not the way I talk, Brandon.
Does he talk like that?
I just made him a sophisticated.
It keeps changing.
Yeah. He's versatile.
But drug work for us, I don't get too excited about drug work. Tracking is my specialty. I love tracking. Drug work, Rakker has been part of a lot of major drug busts for Iowa City, for our task force, heroin busts and marijuana busts. So we're finding more and more stuff like every day. And it's very, very cool to know that we're getting it off the streets, and Rakkers are the tool that we use to get into these vehicles to, be able to get that stuff out of there. Everyone can probably say if a car smells like marijuana, it's very, very potent, but to smell heroin, that's completely different. That's not something any ordinary person would just be able to say, hey, well, I smell it, so we're good. So we get to use Rakker on that. And, like you said, when Nathan came in, all these odors are there. There's no way he's going to find this. Basically, we get that same thing where, everyone says, well, there's a cheeseburger in there. He's probably hungry. No,
yeah.
He's not hungry, so, and I normally break down what Rakker's sniffing for, and why I believe there's an alert. And then eventually, A, we find drugs, or B, there's some kind of admission and say, well, yeah, we smoked in there before, and that odor sticks, so the dogs are trained to sniff the odor of narcotics. You can't cover it up because the dogs just break it all the way back down. So now all you have is a perfume smelling marijuana car, basically, so.
It's been a pleasure talking with Officer Brandon Faulkcon from the Iowa City Police Department. Ron, just a couple of minutes if you want to wrap up, but great stories with you, and hopefully Rakker is listening and is going to be able to verify every lie that you told today.
Well, it sounds like Officer Faulkcon is catching up to Rakker at this point as far as civilities, because now you're like, okay, I know what you're doing. Yeah, I'm going to trust you.
I'll get there soon.
Yeah. We're Petland of Iowa City. We're listening to the PAWSitively Petland show here on Sunday. Our hours of operation are today from noon until 6. But every other day we're open at 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. But today's Sunday. Get on in there. You're probably on your way to church or something. Afterwards, we'll be open at noon. Come in and play. Have a lot of fun. All of our food is on dog food and cat food is on a buy 10, get 1 free. We track it for you, so you don't have to even keep the coupons or anything like that. And then we also do those $5 nail trims. No appointments necessary. Just bring in your vaccination schedule so we have those on file. So it's a pretty easy, fun, come in and play type of store.
Petland, Eastside, Iowa City, over by Lucky's Market. So thank you, Ron, for bringing in a special guest. Once again, Officer Brandon Faulkcon from the Iowa City Police Department. Thank you, Brandon. It is the PAWSitively Petland Show on 800 KXIC every Sunday morning. Have a great day.